Good morning, friends. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's time for Read Aloud too. You see Miss Searles' crazy hair day. So let's read our story, The Very Noisy Night. This is about a little mouse who had a hard time going to sleep. And he wanted his brother Big Mouse to let him sleep in his bed. So let's find out what happens. It was in the middle of the night, and Big Mouse was fast asleep in his bed. But you know what? Little Mouse could not go to sleep. So he said, Big Mouse, I can hear something rushing around the house. And it's huffing and puffing. But look at Big Mouse. He's fast asleep, guys. Did that happen to you sometimes? Sometimes you want to get with mommy or daddy or your brother and sister and they're fast asleep. Big Mouse opened one eye and lifted one ear. He said, It's only the wind. Can I come into your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. There's no room for you. And he turned back over and went to sleep. So he wanted to go sleep with his big brother, but he said, There's no room in here for you. So Little Mouse lay listening to the wind. Then suddenly, between a huff and a puff, he heard a tap, 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 tap. Little Mouse climbed out of bed. He opened the front door just a crack. Look at him. He's opening the front door, whoosh, with the wind. But there was no one outside. Big Mouse, I can hear tapping. I think there's a burglar on the roof. He said, I think someone is on the roof. I think someone that's bad is on the roof. Do you think somebody's on the roof? No, I think it's the wind, right, guys? Yes, I think it's the wind. Big Mouse got out of bed and opened the bedroom curtains. Look, he said, it's only a branch tapping on the window. And he said, Go back to sleep. Can I come to your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. You wiggle. He said, No, you wiggle. First, he told him, No, you can't come in my bed. Second, he told him, No, you can't come in my bed because you wiggle. And look at him. He's still up, right? Let's see what happens, friends. Do you think he's going to end up over there in bed? Let's see. Little Mouse lay in his own bed and listened to the wind huffing and puffing and the branch tap, tap, tapping, and someone calling, Whoo, whoo, whoo. What makes that sound? I think you're right. I think it is an owl. Little Mouse climbed out of his bed again. This time he looked under it. Then he looked in his closet where his clothes were, and he was very scared. And he yelled, Big Mouse, there's a ghost in the room and it's looking for someone. It's keep calling. Whoo, whoo, whoo. Guys, what animal makes that sound? Oh, yes, that an owl makes that sound. And he thinks it's a person that's calling for someone. But I don't think that's right. Big Mouth sighed and he sat up. He said, and he listened. It's only an owl, he said. It stays up all night just like you. And you know what? Can I come and sleep in your bed? Said Little Mouse. And what did he tell him? No, you are absolutely right, friends. And you know why? He said, Because your paws are always cold. And Big Mouse pulled the blanket over his head. And guess what he did, guys? He went back to sleep. Little Mouse sat up and listened to the wind huffing and puffing and the branch tap, tap, tapping and the owl hooting. But shh. What was that? Big Mouse, he's calling. I think it's raining inside. And Little Mouse jumped out of bed and fetched his red umbrella. Drip, 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 drip. Oh my goodness, guys. Is he telling the truth? Do you think it's raining inside? It's water on the floor and he has his umbrella. Let's find out. Big Mouse got out of bed too. He opened the front door to see if it was raining at all. Then Big Mouse went into the kitchen and turned off the dripping faucet. He gently pried the umbrella out of Little Mouse's hand and put it away. So the faucet, that means the sink was left on. So that's the drip, drip, dripping he heard, guys. Can I come into your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, you're nice and snug in your own bed, said Big Mouse, taking time back. And he went back into his bed. What do you think Little Mouse is going to do now? Do you think he's going to get back in his bed? Let's see, friends. Little Mouse lay and listened to the wind huffing and puffing, and the branch tap, tap, tapping, and the what? And the owl hooting. And just as he was beginning to feel very sleepy, indeed, he heard, wee, wee, wee. Big Mouse, he called, you're snoring. So he heard Big Mouse snoring. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Do you think he's ever going to go to sleep? Wearily, Big Mouse got up. He put his earmuffs on Little Mouse's ears. He put a paper clip on his own nose, and he went back to bed. So look, he put earmuffs on Little Mouse, and he put a paper clip on his nose so he won't snore as bad. Do you think he's gonna go to sleep now, guys, or is he gonna have another excuse? Let's find out. Little Mouse lay and listened to nothing. It was very, very, very quiet. He couldn't hear the wind huffing or the branch tapping or the owl hooting or Big Mouse snoring. It was so quiet that Little Mouse felt that he was all alone in the world. Oh my goodness. So he took off his earmuffs. He got out of bed. He pulled the paper clip off of Big Mouse's nose. And Big Mouse, he cried, I'm lonely. So he felt lonely now, guys. Oh my goodness. Little Mouse is having a hard time. Big Mouse flung back his blanket. Better come into my bed, he said. So Little Mouse hopped in his bed, and his paws were cold, and he needed just a little wriggle before he fell fast asleep. Oh, finally, guys, he fell asleep. And Big Mouse lay and listened to the wind, huffing and puffing, and branch tap, tap, tapping, and owl hooting, and a little mouse snuffling. And very soon he heard the birds waking up, but neither of them heard the alarm clock. Because you know what, guys? Because they were both fast asleep. Look at them. The end. Wasn't that a cute story, guys? So they heard all kinds of noises. Little Mouse heard all kinds of noises in the middle of the night. He heard the owl, the branches, the wind, the dripping in the sink. Oh my goodness. That was a cool story. All right, guys. Bye bye. I will see you later. Wear your crazy hair.